My client had been married for 7 years. From the outside, her life looked almost perfect. She and her husband had built what many people would call a stable, loving family. They had a beautiful 5-year-old child who was the center of their world. They had their routines, their inside jokes, their weekend family outings, and the little traditions that couples build over time. To everyone around them, they looked like the kind of couple that would last forever. My client worked a full-time job while her husband had recently been at home recovering from an accident. The accident had happened several months earlier. It wasn't life-threatening, but it was serious enough that he needed to take time off work and rest at home for a while. During this time, my client became the primary earner for the household. She didn't complain about it. In fact, she was supportive. She took on extra responsibilities, managed the house, looked after their child, and made sure her husband was comfortable and recovering well. In her mind, this was what marriage was about, standing by each other when things got difficult. Around this time, their wedding anniversary was approaching. 7 years of marriage. For my client, it was a meaningful milestone. She wanted to make it special. She spent days thinking about how she could surprise her husband. Since he had been feeling a little low due to his accident and being stuck at home, she thought doing something unexpected would lift his spirits. So she came up with a plan. On the morning of their anniversary, she casually told her husband that work might keep her late that day. She said there were some meetings that could run longer than usual. He seemed understanding, even a little disappointed, but he didn't question it. The truth was, she had planned the opposite. She was going to leave work early. She had already arranged everything. She had bought his favorite cake, picked up some decorations, and even planned to cook his favorite meal at home. She imagined his reaction when she walked through the door early and surprised him. In her mind, she pictured the smile on his face. But life had something completely different planned for her. That afternoon, she left the office earlier than usual. On the way home, she stopped to pick up the cake and a small gift she had chosen for him. She felt excited, almost like a teenager planning a surprise for someone she loved. She reached home quietly. Her plan was simple: sneak in, set everything up, and wait for him to notice. But the moment she stepped inside the house, something felt off. At first, it was just a strange silence. Then she noticed a pair of shoes near the entrance that didn't belong to her. Her heart skipped for a second, but she immediately dismissed the thought. Maybe a relative had visited. Maybe her sister had stopped by to check on her husband. Her sister lived nearby and occasionally visited, so it wouldn't have been unusual. Still, something about the atmosphere in the house made her uneasy. Then she heard voices. They were coming from the bedroom. She walked toward the hallway slowly. The closer she got, the more clearly she could hear them. At first, the voices sounded playful, almost intimate. And then she recognized them. One was her husband's voice. The other was her sister's. In that moment, her brain struggled to process what she was hearing. She stood there frozen for a few seconds, hoping, almost praying, that she was misunderstanding the situation. But when she pushed the bedroom door open, the truth was right in front of her. Her husband and her sister were together. There was no misunderstanding, no explanation. They were caught completely red-handed. The shock of that moment is something my client still struggles to describe, even now. She says it felt like the ground disappeared beneath her feet. For several seconds, nobody spoke. Her husband's face turned pale the moment he saw her standing there. Her sister looked equally stunned. None of them expected her to come home early that day. The cake slipped from my client's hands and fell to the floor. That small sound seemed to break the silence. Suddenly, everyone started talking at once. Excuses, apologies, panic. But my client couldn't hear any of it clearly. Her mind had already gone numb. The two people she trusted the most had just shattered her reality in a matter of seconds. Later, when the truth finally came out, the betrayal became even deeper. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It wasn't something that had happened recently. The affair had been going on for 2.5 years. 2.5 years. That meant it had been happening during family dinners, holidays, birthdays, and even while her child was growing up. The same sister who had sat at their dining table, played with her child, and comforted her during difficult times had been secretly involved with her husband the entire time. And the husband, who had always acted like she was the most important person in his life, had managed to hide this reality for years. If she hadn't come home early that day, she might have never discovered it. That realization haunted her the most. After that day, my client went through one of the darkest emotional periods of her life. The betrayal from a partner is already devastating, but when it comes from your own sibling as well, the pain becomes almost impossible to process. She started questioning everything. Were there signs she had ignored? Had she trusted too easily? How could two people she loved so deeply hide something like this for so long? The emotional shock was so intense that she eventually decided to see a therapist. She wanted to make sure her mental health didn't spiral into something worse. Therapy became a crucial step in her healing process. Slowly, over the following months, she began rebuilding herself. It wasn't easy. Some days were better than others. Some days the memories came back stronger. Even now, 8 months later, she occasionally finds herself replaying that moment in her mind. The moment she opened the bedroom door and saw her entire world collapse. But today, she is stronger than she was back then. She has learned that betrayal says more about the people who commit it than the person who suffers from it. I'm sharing this story not to spread negativity, but to highlight something important. Sometimes life can look perfect on the surface, but hidden truths can exist beneath it. And sometimes the smallest unexpected moment, like coming home early, can reveal a reality that was hidden for years. As someone who guides people in relationships and mental health, I want people to understand that healing is possible even after the deepest betrayals. My client's story is painful, but it's also a reminder that even when trust is broken, people can rebuild themselves and move forward stronger than before.